I've always had a pretty good memory. Names, stories, appointments, I used to hold it all. But lately I find myself pausing, forgetting why I walked into a room, struggling to recall a name I've known for years. Some days, it worries me. Is this normal? Or is something slipping? In this video, I want to talk about 5 quiet signs your memory might be asking for more than just rest, not medical advice, not panic, just reflection. Maybe you'll recognize yourself in these stories. Maybe you'll find something that brings you peace. Let's begin. Sign number 1, you forget mid-sentence. It always used to flow. I'd be halfway through a story, some funny memory from my 20s, a simple thing my grandson said, and the words would just come. Now, I get halfway through a sentence and stall. The thread disappears. I look around the room, not even sure what I was saying. Wait, what was I talking about again? And I laugh it off. So do others. It happens to everyone, they say. It's just age. Maybe. But deep down, it unsettles me. Because I used to carry long conversations without a hitch. I'd jump from thought to thought with ease. Now I hold a thought like water in my hand. And sometimes it slips before I'm ready. There's a quiet kind of frustration that comes with that. Not loud, not dramatic. Just that small ache of not being as sharp as you once were. It makes you wonder, is this just tiredness, stress, or something deeper? I've asked myself that a lot. And here's what I've come to believe. Forgetting mid-sentence doesn't always mean something's wrong. Sometimes it just means we're mentally overloaded. Too much noise, too much input, not enough quiet. When I was younger, my mind could juggle 10 things at once. Now it wants more simplicity, and I think that's okay. These days, when I forget something mid-thought, I don't panic. I pause. I breathe. And often, just a few seconds later, the thought returns. I've also noticed something. The more I try to force the words, the more they run. But when I relax, they wander back to me, like shy animals returning to a familiar hand. I've started changing how I speak. I speak slower. I give myself space to remember. I don't rush to fill silence. And when I do forget, I don't cover it with a joke. I just say it honestly. Hold on. It'll come back. And it usually does. That one sentence, it'll come back, has become a sort of blessing, because it reminds me that I'm not broken. I'm just a little full of years, full of stories, full of the 1,000 things my brain holds and still tries to carry. If you're forgetting mid-sentence, give yourself the kindness you'd give a friend. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be patient with yourself. The mind may pause, but it still remembers where it left off. Sign number 2, when the familiar starts feeling unfamiliar. There's a little street near my house I've turned down hundreds of times, maybe even thousands. It leads to the grocery store I've been going to for over 2 decades. The sidewalk on the left is cracked where the tree roots pushed through the cement, and there's always a red bicycle leaned against a white fence halfway down. These are things I used to notice without trying, like breathing. But not long ago I missed the turn completely. I was just driving, humming to myself, not distracted, not tired, just moving along, the way we do when we think we know something, by heart. Then suddenly I was 3 blocks past where I meant to go. At first I laughed, thought maybe I had too much on my mind. But that little laugh didn't last, because as I tried to backtrack, I realized I wasn't entirely sure where. Everything looked almost right, almost familiar, but just enough off to make me pause. That's the thing about memory loss. It doesn't shout, it whispers. It slips in slowly, like fog rolling over a quiet street. You don't notice it at first. You just start hesitating, where you used to move confidently. I've had moments like that since. Standing at the stove, recipe card in hand, suddenly unsure if I already added the cumin. Or sitting in the living room, holding the TV remote and drawing a blank on how to switch the input, even though I've done it 100 times before. Each of these is small. On its own, it means nothing. But together, they can make you feel unsure in your own home, in your own skin. But here's what I've learned. It's not a failure, it's a signal that the mind, just like the body, needs care, needs space, needs less pressure to hold everything all the time. So I started writing more things down, not just appointments or grocery lists, but step-by-step reminders for things I used to do on autopilot. I labeled drawers and cupboards. I added small notes near the light switches. I keep a little notebook in my pocket, not because I trust my brain, but because I respect it. I also began talking to myself out loud. Gentle instructions, simple affirmations. Okay, first the onions, then the garlic. Or, the blue mailbox means I turn right. And you know what? That helps a lot. Because when I support my memory instead of testing it, I feel stronger, not weaker, more in control, more connected. We live in a world that says forgetting is a flaw, but I think forgetting is human, and remembering, with help, with tools, with care, is wisdom. So when the familiar feels unfamiliar, don't be afraid to slow down, to reroute, to adapt. Even if it takes you a little longer to get there, even if you need a reminder along the way, you're still getting there. And that counts. Sign thumb to 3. When balance starts to fade, I used to have great balance. I could stand on one leg while putting on socks, climb stairs 2 at a time, reach the top shelf without wobbling. My body moved with a kind of quiet confidence. I never gave it much thought until the day it disappeared. It started small. I stepped out of bed one morning and felt like the floor shifted beneath me. Just a little. A wobble. Then came the moment I lost my footing in the garden while pulling weeds. No injury, just a scare, but it stayed with me. That's the thing about balance, you never think about it until you don't have it. Now, I find myself reaching for the wall more often, holding the handrail tighter, walking just a little slower, on uneven ground. My body has become cautious where once it was free, and that awareness, while necessary, brings with it a quiet kind of grief, not a loud one. Just a soft daily whisper reminding me that my body has changed, but I've also realized something else. It's not weakness, it's wisdom. It's your body asking you to pay attention, not give up. Losing balance isn't just a physical thing. It's a message from your legs, from your core, from your brain. It's your body's way of saying something's not as strong as it used to be. But here's the good news, it's not too late. Balance can be trained, reclaimed, strengthened. Even in your 70s, 80s or 90s, it is still possible to rebuild that foundation, bit by bit. I started with small things. Brushing my teeth while standing on one foot, doing heel-to-toe walks across the hallway, holding a yoga pose even just for a few breaths. It wasn't about being perfect, it was about being present. There's something powerful about standing. Still, it requires focus, stability, trust in your own body. And when you start to wobble, it's not failure, it's feedback. It means your muscles are waking up again. Then I built a little 5-minute routine in the mornings, right by the kitchen counter. Calf raises, side leg lifts, gentle squats. Sometimes I use the back of a chair to steady myself. Sometimes I don't need it at all. And slowly, so slowly I almost didn't notice, my confidence started to return. Confidence to walk outside without scanning the ground in fear. Confidence to get up from a chair without holding on. Confidence that I'm not just aging, I'm actively supporting my own strength. I also began to notice little wins, like being able to carry a laundry basket without shifting my weight awkwardly, or walking through a crowd without feeling like I might get thrown off balance. Balance isn't just about staying upright, it's about staying engaged. It's about reminding yourself and your body that you're still in control, and it's not just physical. Balance affects your sense of independence, your peace of mind, the way you show up in your own life. So if you've been feeling a little off-center, lately a little unsteady, don't shrug it off. Don't tell yourself, it's just age. Tell yourself, it's time to pay attention. Start small, shift your weight from one foot to the other. Stand tall, feel the ground under your heels, and breathe. You're still here. Your body still listens, and with a little time and care it will find its center again. Sometimes growing older means letting go of how things used to be, but it also means embracing what we can still do, and doing it with heart. And that, to me, is a kind of balance all on its own. Sign 04. When sleep becomes slippery, it starts quietly, not with a bang but with a yawn, a night or two of tossing and turning, then waking up a little more tired than usual. At first, you don't think much of it, just a bad night's rest. Maybe you drank too much tea before bed, or the neighbor's dog wouldn't stop barking. But then the bad nights outnumber the good ones. You lie in bed, tired but wired. You wake up at 2 a.m. and stare at the ceiling. You fall asleep before dinner, only to be wide awake by midnight, and the next day? Everything feels foggy. Your legs feel heavy. Coffee doesn't do what it used to. You snap more easily. You forget simple things. Sleep. The one thing we thought came naturally, the thing we joked about never getting enough of when we were younger. It's no longer effortless. But here's the truth. As we age, sleep becomes more important than ever, and more fragile too. Our bodies need rest to heal, to process, to reset. And without it, everything, our memory, our mood, our immune system, even our balance, starts to suffer. I used to think sleep was something you just did. Now I treat it like an appointment, something to protect, something to prepare for. That means winding down slowly, turning off bright screens an hour before bed, making my room a quiet, calm place, not a cluttered one. I've stopped watching the news before I sleep. I light a small candle, read a few pages of an old book, and let the day settle. I used to power through exhaustion. Now I listen to it. Sleep, when it comes peacefully, is a gift. It's the body's way of saying, you made it through another day. Let me help you reset for the next. When sleep doesn't come, it's not your fault, but it is your signal. A sign that your body needs support, not scolding. I spoke to my doctor about my restless nights. Turns out even small habits, like irregular meal times or too many afternoon naps, can disrupt your natural rhythm. Now I try to keep my schedule steady. I eat dinner early, avoid caffeine after 2 p.m., and go to bed around the same time each night. Do I still wake up sometimes at 3 a.m. for no reason? Sure, but now I get up, stretch, sip water, and don't panic. I remind myself this is a phase, not a forever. And slowly I've started to reclaim my nights. The sleep is deeper, my dreams return. I wake up not just rested, but clear. There's something tender about sleep in later years. It feels earned, sacred, not just physical rest, but emotional repair. The brain sorting through the day's mess, filing it away so you can meet tomorrow with softness instead of struggle. So if sleep has become a stranger lately, I see you. I've been there. But don't give up on it. Give it the space, the care, and the respect it deserves. Your body is still working hard for you, even in rest, especially in rest. Let it rest well. Sign number 5. When your appetite begins to fade. My appetite used to be reliable. I could tell the time by my stomach. Breakfast made me feel ready. Lunch gave me focus. Dinner was a moment to pause, enjoy, reflect, and a little something sweet afterward. Well, that was just life's quiet reward. But lately it's changed. There are days I don't feel hungry at all. I open the fridge and nothing calls to me. Food that once brought joy now feels like just another task. I've skipped meals without noticing. I've stood at the counter nibbling crackers and called it dinner. It snuck up on me. The slow fading of appetite, the quiet loss of interest in flavors, textures, the comfort of a warm bowl of soup. And yet, I still felt tired, still felt weaker. My pants got looser, my energy dropped. What I didn't know was that this too was a sign. A shrinking appetite isn't just about food, it's about what your body is no longer asking for or forgetting it needs. And at this stage of life, that matters more than ever. When we eat less, we often eat worse. We fall back on quick processed options. We lose interest in variety. Protein intake drops, hydration suffers, and the body begins to quietly lose its strength. The muscles shrink, the immune system weakens, the mind fogs. It doesn't happen all at once, but it happens. I talked to my doctor, and she told me something I won't forget. Eating isn't about indulgence anymore. It's about maintenance, fuel, protection. That changed how I saw the plate in front of me. I stopped waiting for hunger to show up. I started creating moments for meals again. I set the table, even if it was just me. I added color to my food, bright vegetables, fresh herbs, a slice of fruit just for the pleasure of it. I returned to soups, to oats, to warm things that felt like care in a bowl, and I made eating social again. I invited neighbors for lunch. I called my daughter while I cooked. I watched old cooking shows while I chopped vegetables, anything to bring joy back into the ritual of feeding myself. Because here's the truth. Food isn't just about fuel, it's memory, it's dignity, it's independence. And when we stop caring about what we eat, we slowly stop caring for ourselves. So now I pay attention. If I'm not hungry, I ask why. Am I stressed, tired, lonely? Do I need flavor or just connection? Sometimes the solution is as simple as adding lemon to water, or a little salt to rice, or sitting down instead of eating on my feet. I keep snacks within reach, nuts, yogurt, apples. I drink more water, and I keep a routine even when my appetite doesn't. Eating well now is less about appetite and more about intention, and I intend to keep living fully, vibrantly, joyfully, one thoughtful meal at a time. And I remind myself, nourishment is an act of love, not just for the body but for the heart. I think of the meals my mother used to cook, how she'd always put a sprig of parsley on the plate, even when we didn't care. Food should look happy, she'd say. I didn't understand it then. I do now. It's not about the parsley. It's about the effort, the care, the message that someone matters. Now I do that for myself. Even when I eat alone, I light a candle. I use a real plate. I chew slowly. I say thank you, not to anyone in particular, just to life, to myself, for showing up again, because that's what eating is now, a way to say, I'm still here. I still matter. I still choose to care. And that to me is the beginning of wellness. One quiet meal at a time. Growing older isn't about fading away. It's about learning new rhythms, listening to our bodies in ways we never had to before. Every slowed step, every quiet moment, every shift in appetite or sleep, it's not the end of vitality, it's the beginning of a deeper kind of awareness. A reminder that caring for ourselves is no longer optional. It's essential. If you've seen yourself in any part of this video, if something made you pause, nod, or smile quietly, then I hope you take this with you. You're not alone, you're not broken, and it's never too late to begin again, with care, with intention, and with love. Thank you for spending this time with me. If this message spoke to you, consider sharing it with someone who might need it too. And if you'd like more stories like this, gentle, honest, rooted in real experience, I'd love to have you here. So please like, subscribe, and turn on the bell so you don't miss what's next. Until then, take care of yourself, and let's keep growing, quietly, kindly, and fully.